Welcome back. This is Lauren Kimball for ANI 150. In the last video, we talked about Project 4 in brief. You will be creating a vehicle. You will need to model a low poly and a high poly, basically the same workflow that we have been addressing with every project up to this point. Now, we will be introducing Substance Painter finally, but everything else should be pretty much what you've been working with. So, to get started, there are 3 links here to different websites that feature blueprints. Now, some of these websites, sell the blueprints. I am not expecting anyone to make any purchases for this project. It's just if you happen to not find your blueprint for the vehicle you are just desperately wanting to do on, in the free category, know that there are purchasable blueprints and that you could just drag and drop the low poly of the purchased one and maybe find a higher resolution using Google image search. My favorite of these 3 is the drawing database, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. This one has mostly free blueprints. Now, I mentioned in the previous video that I recommend choosing something boxy, something simple. So this would be a good example of a simple vehicle, this Harvester Metro van. Another one, let's take a look at this. Yeah, this one isn't too bad. You might run into some issues here with the curvature, but reasonably this isn't terribly daunting. The kind of vehicles that I recommend you kind of shy away from are more like your sports cars. I don't know if I see any popping up right here, but like here's a BMW. This may look simple, but when you get into these more organic-like curves coming in, it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more double checking and going back, and you are welcome to try to do something like this, but I would recommend against it because you've got a small window of time. Now, once you've selected the make and model that you want to build, I had earlier today modeled this one, so basically once you've selected one, so I'm just going to go, where's the one I was looking at? There, that van. You basically just click it and it should automatically load the high-res version of this and drag and drop to your desktop or side click save as, and you should have no problem getting a hold of this. That's why that second link is my favorite of the blueprint websites. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that and open up this image here in Photoshop. Put your image into Photoshop. Go ahead and use your Marquee tool. You're going to take the images from your blueprint and you're going to break them up into different documents. Now, I highly recommend when you choose your blueprint to also choose one that includes the front, the back, the side, and the top. It doesn't really matter if your blueprints include the bottom of the vehicles. We're not going to be looking at the bottom of the vehicle. But it's important that these 4 orthographic views are available for your camera. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Marquee tool, and I'm going to select the side view. I'm going to press Control-C to copy. Control-N is going to create a new canvas based on what you have copied to your clipboard. So go ahead and press Create. Control-V is going to paste it. And then you go back to that main image, deselect your Marquee box, which is Control-D, and then go ahead and create another Marquee box. Now notice that once I've created it, I can move it around. That's by holding the space bar. Alright, so I'm going to Control-C, Control-N, create, paste, go back, and you're going to do this for each of these images. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is create a project directory to save these into. I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene. Save. Alright, open up Maya, go ahead and go to the project window, which is underneath File. You can go ahead and name the project. I'll name it Project 4, Defaults, Accept, and that will create a directory on my desktop. Now, under the source images is where I'm going to want to save these. So I'm going to go File, Save As, side view, front view, back view, etc. And then I can save them to my desktop, or I could save them directly into the source images folder. Now I did this previously, so instead of going through all that, I'm just going to grab these from my other project and paste them into the new source images file. Now the other thing I highly recommend you do is once you've settled on a vehicle, go and find additional references of that vehicle. Don't rely solely on the blueprint, because some of these blueprints are, while they're mostly accurate, there's some things that aren't captured in them, and having references not only help you get a better view of this, like in a 3/4 perspective, it also allows you to see texture and details that really aren't captured in the reference images. So I'm going to go ahead and put these references also in my source image so that I have everything I need all in one nice little folder that I can back up when I need to. Alright, so now let's talk about setting up your cameras for this. We've talked about setting up image planes before, but setting up a front and a view, or a front and a back view, when they kind of share cameras facing in the same direction, well, or on the same axes rather, it can get a little tricky. So that's what I'm going to walk you through. So I'm going to begin by going into my 4-camera view layout, and I'm going to click my side view, and I'm going to go View, Image Plane, Import Image, and I'm going to grab that side view. That one's pretty easy to place. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to go View, Image Plane, Import Image, and I'm going to click on the front view, which also places pretty easily. Now, I recommend making sure that these images are lining up. You can do this in Photoshop, or you can do it in Maya, it doesn't matter. In Maya, I'm just making sure that the tires are lining up. That looks accurate. Looks like the hood is lining up where it should. I mean, it's just getting a general feel. It looks like it's a little bit low on the roof. Let's go ahead and bring that up. See if that messes with anything. Just a little. So just kind of doing the best that I can. And then of course making sure that in the front view it is centered, because I enjoy mirroring my geometry, and I want to make sure that this is cut down the middle. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and move this off to the side, and I'm going to go in and grab my top viewport. In my top viewport, I'm going to go under View, Import Image Plane, and grab the top view. It's not quite lining up with the other images, so I'm going to click it and rotate it. Looks like it's rotating on the y-axis. I'll press 90 on that. Make sure it's kind of lining up nicely. Make sure in the top view that it is lining up with the center okay. It looks like it could be budged over just a little. Maybe bring this back over. Make sure that all the pieces are lining up. Looks like the hood is lining up pretty decently. Yeah, I guess you need to be budged back a little. Alright, so I like to push these images back away from my grid. So because we have attached these to orthographic cameras, if I push this back in my perspective view, notice that nothing happens in the side view. So these image planes will always maintain the same distance, even if you push them forever away. I'm going to choose to push this about -40, and that's entirely arbitrary. I just chose that because I want it out of my way. Same with this. I'm going to push it down, -40, so it's out of my way. And this I'm going to push this way, so -40 on the z-axis. So my front camera is facing this way. I'm now going to go back into my 4 perspective views, and I'm going to click on the top view. And that, again, that's, you could pick any of these, but I'm going to click top. And I'm going to go under panels, and I'm going to go under orthographic, and you see that there's a front, side, and a top, but no back view. So you have to go to New and create a back camera. When I do this, it's going to create one in my outliner, which I'm going to drag up here so it keeps my cameras together. And then when I look in through my back view, so you can see from the bottom label that I am in the back viewport, but I'm looking at the front image. This is when things get a little tricky. So first I'm going to bring in my back image. So I'm going to go View, Image Plane, Import Image, Back. I'm going to open it. And first thing you're going to notice is where the heck is it? It's way out here. For some reason when you create a new orthographic view, it just shoots it way off into the distance. So I'm going to click on my last image plane that I created, press F, and I can see where it's located. I'm going to move it all the way back to my grid. Press F again to bring it into focus. And I'll go ahead and move it about 40 this way. All right. So this is where things get a little weird. I'm going to go ahead and create a polygon cube. And if I look at this polygon cube from my side view, it's working like it should, but I don't see that cube in my back view, I don't see it in my front view, and oddly enough, my front image is in my back viewport and my back image in my front. What is going on? Let me show you. I'm going to begin by grabbing the front camera, which lives all the way out here, and I'm going to bring it forward. Now again, these are orthographic views, so no matter how much I move this camera, it is not going to mess with the placement of the image. But what it does do is allow me to push this camera in front of this back image. So if this back image was set on a coordinate of 40 on the z-axis, I could set this camera at 39. And now, when I look in my front view, not only do I see my front view, but I also see the shape in front of it, which is what I want. Because when I'm modeling, I'm going to go to Shading, X-ray, and then I'll be able to see my mesh and see the reference image simultaneously. So I'm going to want to do that with my other image camera, or my other camera. So I'm going to click on the back camera, which again is way out there for reasons I don't know. I'm going to bring it in. Now this image was sitting at -40 on the Z, so I'm going to grab this and set it to -39, so it's just right in front of that image plane. And now when I go into my back view, I see the back view image and I see my shape, which is just the way I want to start. So I'm going to delete this cube, and I'm going to grab all 4 of my image planes and I'm going to add them into a display layer, just in case I want to turn them off or make it so I can't select them. And then I'm going to go ahead and save my scene. So car 001 and save as. And I think I will show you how to start the project in a second video, or third video rather. Instead of having just 2 videos, let's make it 3, make it easier to digest. All right.